In this video, I wanted to cover what you should consider before you buy the Zim Apex. Now, the Zim Apex is an adapter for a console that allows you to play mouse and keyboard on a console. And I wanted to clear something up before I go into this, that I'm not saying that I'm not in favor of the Zim Apex. I'm really in favor of Zim Apex. I really like playing with the mouse and keyboard on the console. But I just wanted to clear up a few things before people go out there and buy the Zim Apex and think it's going to be really easy to get going. And there are some things that you should know before you buy the Zim Apex. And the first thing I want you to know is that the Zim Apex is pretty expensive. It runs for about $125 on Amazon, and there's a link in the description of this video, and it's an affiliate link in case you want to help me out. And so it's not super cheap. It's not just a $10 accessory. It's pretty steep, so you have to be ready for the price tag on the Zim Apex. And number two is that the Zim Apex doesn't automatically make you better at every game. Just because playing on a controller is pretty difficult, switching to a mouse and keyboard isn't going to make you any better, because just how you had to practice to become better at the controller, you're going to have to re-practice and reprogram your mind to become better at playing on a keyboard and using a mouse and getting used to the sensitivity on the mouse and the movement that you do on the keyboard, because you've probably learned everything you already need to know on the controller. And like if you have paddles on the back of your controller, you've gotten used to that, and you've gotten used to probably changing the sticks and the sensitivity on there, and you're gonna have to get used to a whole new program on your mouse and keyboard. So you're not automatically gonna get better from using the Zim Apex. And then number three, that if you buy the Zim Apex, something that most people probably don't consider is you're gonna need a mouse and keyboard, and you're gonna want to get a gaming mouse and keyboard. You're not going to want your typical mouse and keyboard, because the typical mouse and keyboard is going to be a little bit more clunky. It might be bigger, and so like you'll have to move your fingers a lot farther if you use a regular keyboard. And a non-gaming mouse is probably going to be pretty heavy and hard to move around and move quickly, and it's going to be just more difficult. Where a gaming mouse like the Ninja Air 58 is only 58 grams, super light. If you're playing Fortnite, you can edit really quickly and you can move around, which a lot of the players, they need to have that space, they need to have the room to move around, and a gaming mouse is going to allow you to do that. And a gaming keyboard that's whatever size you like to have your mechanical gaming keyboard is going to help you out. And a gaming mouse and a gaming keyboard is not necessarily cheap. If you want good ones, they're probably going to run around $100 each. And if you don't, then it's going to be at least $50 each. So that's another $100 on top of the Zim Apex that you're already buying. So it's already getting a little bit more expensive, and it's like buying another console. So that's something else to consider. And that leads me to my next point, which is number four. You need a desk. In order to play with a mouse and keyboard, you need a desk. But when you're playing with console, you don't need a desk to put your controller on. So, you're going to want a big desk too. That's something that I didn't necessarily consider, is like when you're playing with a mouse, it's not like working or just playing on a regular computer where you move it slightly. You need a lot of room in order to play like the pros do. So you're going to need a pretty sizable desk. There's a lot of desks out there, but you're really going to want a large flat one that's adjustable in height, because if you get a standard one and you don't like the height, you're going to get carpal tunnel syndrome, or it's just going to bug you, and you're not going to be able to maximize your effort. So you want an adjustable and flat. So make sure to consider that as well. And the next point, which is number five, is that you should consider before buying the Zim Apex, is that you have to bind the keys. So everything that's on the controller, you have to bind over here, and that takes time and consideration, and you have to get used to it. And the other thing is that keybinds on the Zim Apex are not the same as PC. So on the Zim Apex, you have to mirror what's on the controller. So for Fortnite, for example, you still have to switch to build mode, which means you have to have a keybind for that. And you still have to switch weapons as well. So like you can't bind your weapons to numbers, which is what PC players do. And you also can't bind builds to their own key without switching to build mode. So you have to keep that in mind, that you have to bind everything to a key on the keyboard, which takes time. And then also, it's not going to be one for one the way it would be on a PC. It's going to be a little bit different. You're limited to what's on the controller, and you're limited to whatever game you're playing allows you to map to a controller. And some of the ways to get around this in things like Fortnite is to map a bunch of things to the D-pad, because you don't use the D-pad for gameplay. So you map different things to the D-pad and then map the D-pad to a keybind. And you'll do that in the software for the Zim Apex, which is on your phone in an app. And I'll go over that in another video, so make sure to subscribe. It leads me to number 6, which is something good. It makes your aim better. So the Zim Apex and using a mouse and keyboard is going to make your aim better. So if your aim is the only thing that's kind of off, even with aim assist, then mouse and keyboard is going to help, because you're going to be able to click where you want. And you're not going to be a perfect aimer in the beginning, but you know, if you do aim training, then you will get better, and your aim's just going to be better overall, because you can click people's bodies and heads. It's just going to make that a lot easier. And number 7, another benefit is that it is going to help you practice using a mouse and keyboard if your goal is ultimately to get a PC. And when you get your PC, you're going to be able to use the mouse and keyboard that you bought on that new PC. So that is another benefit. If you're working your way and saving money up to get a PC, then buying the Zim Apex is going to be good for you. So that's another thing to consider before you buy the Zim Apex. So those were some things to consider before buying the Zim Apex. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because I'm going to be going over more things about the Zim Apex and gaming in general. Thanks for watching.